Hi guys, my name is Nicolette Mashile. I am also known as the Financial Bunny. Welcome to the Financial Bunny TV. Today we're talking all things cryptocurrency, the ABCs of cryptocurrencies and the 1, 2, 3s. We want to make sure that you have all of the information that you need if you decide that you want to start playing in that space of cryptocurrency. And of course, I rallied up one of the best exchanges that we've got on the African continent. It's called Yellow Card, where you can buy or sell your cryptocurrency. And they have jumped on a live session with me. And if you haven't seen that live session, I will leave the link below so that you can go into that conversation and get to know a little bit about what is cryptocurrency. Now, before I go on with this video, please do remember that none of my videos constitute as financial advice. If you are, however, looking for financial advice, please, I beg you, speak to somebody who is certified and registered with the FSCA. So let's get straight into it. One of the things that I live by is the rule that says you don't put in money, you don't put in your hard-earned money into something you do not understand. Now, I'm very guilty of doing that a couple of months ago, many moons ago. You'll remember that I put my money into Bitcoin. It's one of the cryptocurrencies, right? It's one of the popular ones. Put my money into Bitcoin. I think I bought around about 8,000 rands worth of Bitcoin. It was, of course, translated into South African rands in terms of how much, the 8,000 is how much I had paid, but I don't really remember how much Bitcoin I received. So I paid 8,000 rands worth of Bitcoin. Sharp. The Bitcoin market was bullish at that time. It went skyrocketing up and I made some money and I was able to withdraw. I think I withdrew like 9,000 rand of that South African rand. So I converted a certain portion of my Bitcoin into 9,000 South African rands and I was able to withdraw that. And I was still left with 13,000 rands worth of Bitcoin. And it was really exciting for me. It was like so exciting. I was on that app literally every single day because I was like, maybe we are onto something here, because maybe I need to channel a majority of my money. Maybe I need to relook at what my asset allocation looks like. Maybe we need to adjust the percentage of how much we're going to put into cryptocurrency, right? Now, of course, sometimes you get too excited. I didn't get that excited. So I didn't add any new amounts of money. I just let it sit there. And let me tell you, it started to tank. But like any other market, I thought, you know what? Most markets go into a bearish status in their markets. There's always going to be fluctuations. But let me tell you, this cryptocurrency market was going up and down, up and down, up and down so quickly. There were big jumps, and I was like, what is actually going on here? So eventually, I just forgot about it, and I was like, you know what, we'll see as time goes. Of course, some of the markets went into a recession, and we're sitting now with a lot of the financial markets in a bear status. So we've got bear markets, and Bitcoin, or rather cryptocurrency, is one of those markets that is also in a bearish state right now, right? But coupled with the collapse of FTX, the third largest exchange. And the collapse of that exchange for me, it's the reason why it collapsed that really got me very interested. And I was like, maybe we do need regulation in that space. Maybe this currency and putting money into this currency is not a good idea. But at the same time, while I was making these assertions, I didn't really have anything backing it up as to why I think cryptocurrency is a bad place to put money. I had made some gains. Yes, I saw it tumble quite fast and quite volatile, but I didn't really understand what was the reason, what was behind the tumbling and what. And then I realized you actually don't know enough about cryptocurrency. So bring in people that actually know enough and have a conversation with them. And that is why we ended up having this conversation with the guys from Yellow Card. But here is a summary of what my understanding or the ABCs of cryptocurrency are. So let's start off with the what. What is cryptocurrency? In the most layman's terms, without trying to sound even smart, literally cryptocurrency is internet money. It is a digital currency that me and you can transfer to each other. We can transfer value to each other over the internet without needing to use a banking system. Basically, that is what it is. So it is basically you going to an exchange and buying or selling your Bitcoin or your Ethereum or your Zcash or your USD tether to the next person. That's literally what it is, right? So it is done through encryption so that obviously there's no chance of somebody else duplicating your currencies that you hold, so your digital assets. It is decentralized, which means there are no central banks or central federal banks, or there's not much of government interference in the space of digital money. And it can only happen with the use of the internet. So this is very important to understand. And there's always like this big argument about, is cryptocurrency an asset? Is cryptocurrency an investment? What does it look like? And I want you to think about it this way. Let's use Bitcoin, one of the most popular ones. If you paid 50 Rand for 5 Bitcoins, right? So let's say you pay 10 Rand for each Bitcoin, and then you let it sit in your wallet. So depending on which platform you're using, it sits in your wallet. And then Bitcoin appreciates. Something happens and Bitcoin appreciates. We'll get into what those somethings are. And now 1 Bitcoin is worth 100 Rand. How much value are you sitting with? You are currently sitting with, because you bought 5 at 50 Rand, you're currently sitting with 5 times 100 Rand, which is 500 Rand's value, if you are going to convert it into your South African Rand or whatever currency that is working in your economy. Is that an investment? Did you buy something? Did you hold? Did it appreciate? Did you make money? Of course, you only realize your profit if you decide to sell some or all of those Bitcoins while it is still high. So buy low, sell high. Is that an investment? Is that an asset to hold? Let's simplify it a little bit more. When you are trading Forex, what are you doing? You're buying and you're selling currencies, right? That's how it works, right? So what are those currencies? It's the South African Rand. It is the Japanese yen. It is the United States dollar. It's the Canadian dollar. These are currencies that you are buying. So are they assets or not? So that means then that a digital currency can potentially be seen as an asset. And if you buy an asset that is going to make you money, it means that it can be seen as an investment. So I'm going to park that there, and I want us to have that conversation, perhaps maybe in the comment section, to say, is it actually an asset? Could it potentially be an investment? And I want you to think about it, because in my understanding, it definitely is. So that is the what of cryptocurrencies, right? But let's talk a little bit about how they appreciate in value. What would happen? I want to take you back to economics class. The law of supply and demand. The law of supply and demand generally is applicable in most, if not all, financial markets. If there is a high demand, that means that the guys who are the suppliers, right? If there's a high demand, the guys who are the suppliers are going to win. Why? Because it means that the pricing of whatever asset it is going to go up. Willing buyer, willing seller. But generally, when the demand is higher, the people who are holding the assets are the ones who are called the supply. And that can drive up the prices and values of certain asset classes, right? So it would naturally do the same thing for currencies. If the demand is high, but the supply of the actual currency, so everybody wants it. It's like the girl from down the road that everybody is interested in, just to say hello to her. Her access becomes valuable, right? So the supply the law of supply and demand is also applicable when it comes, of course, to cryptocurrency. Of course, remember, the supply of demand and the law of supply and demand has different driving factors. That's why people will say, yeah, but Elon Musk said something the other day. That's sentiment. If somebody who's as influential as Elon Musk says they're going to use cryptocurrency to pay for certain things, for remittances, for transactions, He's creating a sentiment in the cryptocurrency market. So all of a sudden, those who are all followers of him, who may not be in the cryptocurrency market, are like, oh, shoot, this man who's influential is now speaking about this thing that everybody was saying don't go into. He creates a demand. So what does it do? It drives up the value of cryptocurrencies. So it's very, very important to understand the law of demand and supply. Again, as I said, the law of supply and demand is driven by many factors. One of those is also the supply of these different cryptocurrencies. We do know, for instance, that Bitcoin has a limit at how much can actually be mined in terms of Bitcoin. So who's going to hold the majority of that Bitcoin? Because that person basically becomes the small group of people that are holding Bitcoin will become the suppliers. And if something happens in the economic market that drives the demand for Bitcoin, it means these guys who are the suppliers are going to see great appreciation because the value of the asset they are holding is going to go up. Right? So economic news, just like they're important in the stock market, just like they're important in the real estate market, just like they're important in the forex market, are probably also very important in the cryptocurrency market. So the supply, the availability of it is very important. The other role that is played in terms of driving the supply and demand of cryptocurrencies is, of course, availability and access. And a majority of these cryptocurrencies are available, and the access that we're granted is via exchanges. So for instance, if you come to one of the fastest growing markets, which is Africa, and you look at the availability of exchanges and what digital assets they have on their exchange, that also drives the access to certain cryptocurrencies. So the non-popular ones you might not find on some exchanges, especially in markets that are growing, like Africa, right? So you look at a different exchange and you look at what is available. For instance, if you look at the Yellow Card exchange, you have access to Bitcoin and you've got access to the USD Tether. That means that if there's another coin that you want to actually purchase, you might not be able to do it via the Yellow Card. And you might find that there's no other exchange that actually makes it even available. So the supply and the demand may be high in the demand may be high in one region, but the supply is unavailable. So you end up having to go to some exchanges that may not even have the right footing or the right coverage or the right support for you in the locality that you are in. And of course, also we know that, again, the law of supply and demand, driven by many factors, one of those is regulation. Interference by governments. Regulation, legislation that is going to be drawn. Now in South Africa, we know there's quite developments within the cryptocurrency space. We've seen that now the FSCA is starting to recognize that cryptocurrency is part of the financial markets in our country and in our economy. So they're bringing in some form of licensing that is necessary for any person that is going to be trading, assisting to trade cryptocurrency, whether you're an exchange, whether you're a wallet, whether you want to become a broker. There is going to be licensing that is going to be required by the FSCA. So these are some of the factors that will drive the value up or down of cryptocurrencies. And it's important to know that it is all hinged on the law of supply and demand. So where do you actually buy, sell, find, access cryptocurrency, and how much do you need to spend? It's a big question that a lot of people keep asking. Well, an exchange like Yellow Card. These are the guys that make it possible for you to be able to set up an account, deposit your own currency. So if you are in South Africa, it is going to be, of course, South African rands. If you're in Botswana, it's the Pula. If you're in Zambia, it's the Zambian Kwacha. If you're in Namibia, Namibian dollar, right? You're going to put that money onto this platform called Yellow Card. And then you have an opportunity to be able to buy the types of cryptocurrencies that you want. And you can hold those cryptocurrencies. You can transfer those cryptocurrencies. You can use them to pay for certain things. This is very, very important. It's very important to understand that it's not you going to the headquarters of Bitcoin to say, oh, sorry, hello, I want to buy Bitcoin. Or going to the headquarters of the USD Tether, hello, I want to buy. No. You use what is called an exchange. The same way you're not going to go and knock on Sanlam and say, hi, I'm here to buy ordinary shares. They're going to say to you, go find a broker or go into the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Right? So then you would use a platform or a broker to be able to help you do that from the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. But the great thing about cryptocurrency is that you can simply go to the exchange and you are able to buy and sell and store. Speaking about storing, very, very important, because remember, when you buy cryptocurrencies, it's like, I don't know if you guys have ever bought like coins. So I've got like Mandela coins, Kruger Rands and all of that. You can put them in a vault. So you can store them at a bank in a vault and they'll give you a key to your vault, either a digital number or an actual physical key. I think in the olden days, they used to give you physical keys before the digital world came and took over, right? So even with cryptocurrency, you get what is called a key when you buy your crypto. The moment you buy a crypto, you get issued a key. Now, you can either store it yourself. And we've seen many times when people store their cryptos, lose their laptop, they store it on their laptop, lose it, or they store it in the cloud, lose the password to whatever vault they've stored it in, and then they have no access to their cryptos. Whereas with guys at Yellow Card, you'll also have an alternative to store all of your keys with them. And they've promised me that it is secure. So that's where you would store your cryptos. That's where you would buy your cryptos, and if you're looking to sell, and offload yourself some of those cryptos, that is the exchange where you're going to find other willing buyers for your specific crypto. You can also use it to transfer your crypto using that key to someone else. Let's talk about how do you make money. How do you make money? Because at the end of the day, we're not going to just learn all of this information for no reason. It's important to understand this. So one of the things that Tato said, which I really enjoyed, and it piqued my interest. Let's park Bitcoin for a second. There is a digital asset or digital currency called the USD Tether. And basically what it is that it is a coin or currency rather, that is pegged to the United States dollar. So it's 1 for 1. So what does that mean? Basically, if the United States dollar in South African rands is 17 rand, you can buy a USD Tether currency for 17 rand, you can buy 1. 17 plus 17, 7 plus 7 is 4, carry 1. For 34 rand, you can buy 2. And it moves with the United States dollar. So whatever happens in terms of the valuation of the United States dollar, that's how your valuation of the USD Tether. So what does it do? It holds value. It holds value. So think about it this way. Let's say the United States dollar is 10 rand for $1. And you take 100 rand and you buy 10 US dollars, right? So you've got 10 US dollars because 10 US dollars at 10 rand is going to be 100 rand, right? So now you've got 10 USD tethers, right? Then something happens, right? So, but you've spent 100 rand. Then something happens in the markets. And the South African rand, it loses momentum against the United States dollar. And now it's sitting at 1 US dollar equals 20 South African rands. It's a big jump. But work with me. And of course, in currencies, there aren't such huge jumps, but it happens. So 1 United States dollar is now equal 20 South African rands. But you are holding how many USD tethers? You're holding 10. And you bought them at 100 rand, right? But all of a sudden, your 10 is now equal to the price of how much the United States dollar is. So you take your 10 and you multiply it now by 20 rand, and you've got 200 rand. value in South African rands when you convert. So that's basically what it is, right? So you actually are hedging against your economy's currency. That's how it would work. And I find that to be interesting because I'm like, South Africa is an emerging market, and there's quite a number of things that happen in the economic space that just throws off the South African rand. So if I'm going to put my money somewhere to hedge on currency volatility, this might just be the digital asset that I should be buying. And that's basically how you can make some money within the cryptocurrency space. You can also buy and hold, like the likes of Bitcoin being quite a popular one. You can buy and hold. You can even look at the less popular ones because the volatility there is probably much higher and the jumps are much higher than they would be for a currency like Bitcoin that is a little bit more popular. So you've got a whole lot more people that actually are holding that currency. Although, because it's one of the most popular ones also, it means that generally anybody who is going to be buying into cryptocurrency may start to buy in on that one because it's got a track record. So holding that one might also be very useful. So you buy and hold. But one thing Tato spoke about, which I'd love to get into the next video that I'm going to do when I speak about the Yellow Card platform, is of course the technology. The technology that is used for cryptocurrency. He said it could potentially impact and change how we do things and the way we see the world. So I'm really excited about having that conversation. But we also know that with cryptocurrency, you can pay for things using it. But we must now also explain how it works. Because I'm thinking in my head, okay, so I've got 5 Bitcoins. They're worth 100 Rand. I've come to Nicolette. I've bought Nicolette's iPhone using my 5 Bitcoins. So she's now sitting with 5 Bitcoins worth 10 Bitcoins worth, so let's say 10 Bitcoins are worth 100 Rand. She's sitting with 10 Bitcoins. She's given me a cell phone that let's say is valued at 100 Rand. And then the price of Bitcoin plunges and she hasn't converted her Bitcoins into cash. And now she's sold me her cell phone, which is worth 100 Rand, at 10 Bitcoins, which were worth 100 Rand, but the Bitcoin market crashes, and now each Bitcoin is worth R1, so she's sitting with 10 Rand. So shame, Nicolette is now sitting with 10 Rands worth of Bitcoins. But what must Nicolette do? Remember, you only realize a loss when you convert it into cash. So when you liquidify it back into cash, that's when you make a loss. Because the inverse can also be great for you, because there could potentially be a change in the Bitcoin price. So it could also go the other way around, where you've paid me with 10 Bitcoins worth 100 Rand for my cell phone. I've given you my cell phone, which is worth 100 Rand, but then the Bitcoin market jumps because something happens in the economic space, or the demand rises, and all of a sudden, 1 Bitcoin is worth 1,000 Rand. I'm sitting with 10, so now my Bitcoin is worth 10,000. So you've got to also look at it in that manner to say, actually, there's another way of looking at it. So these are some of the ways in which you can make money. Of course, there's also cryptocurrency mining, in terms of how you actually discover, and I'm going to use the word discover very loosely, how you can mine more of these different cryptocurrencies. Then there's a whole lot of other things in a whole different world, NFTs, that people are just doing amazing things. Amazing things on the internet. They're creating worlds out there. You can even buy property, land in the metaverse, and you can pay for it using cryptocurrency. So there's a whole lot and a whole big world that is happening out there. And I think it would be very silly for us not to get involved. But the only way you can get involved is by having information. Information is very, very important. So one of the things that the guys at Yellow Card have, which is really exciting for me, is called the Yellow Card Academy. Go onto their website, check out that academy. They've partnered with other third-party service provider. I think there's Cryptoversity and another one that I can't remember right now. But these are the guys that are going to help you with information. They break down some of these things. And it really just gives you a different perspective of a world that is happening out there. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where the world moves to that space and you're still stuck at the back and not knowing what it is that you are doing. But as I said, on the next video, I'm going to literally take you guys through a crash course of how to use the Yellow Card platform, its benefits, and of course, how to register your account, and also what more you can expect from the guys at Yellow Card. Once again, if you have not had opportunity to watch that live, it is going to be in the link below. Click on it, listen to some of the conversations that I had with Tato Mokoena, who is the Yellow Card South Africa country head. I'll see you guys on the next one. Mwah.